So, after discussing the electronic configuration of different block elements, today we are going to discuss about some physical properties and their periodic variation. Some physical properties and their periodic variation. First question, I already mentioned what is periodicity and how it is explained. What is periodicity and how it is explained? Periodicity means the repetition of elements with similar property after a certain interval. I am repeating, the repetition of element with similar property after a certain interval, that is known as periodicity. And this periodicity will occur after the magic numbers. After magic numbers. Question may be there, what are magic number? These are 2, 8, 18, 32, 50, 72. These numbers are known as magic number. And after this interval, the element with similar property will repeat. Now question may be there, why the element will show the periodicity? The elements will show periodicity due to similar electronic configuration. The element will show periodicity due to similar electronic configuration. Now, we have to discuss various physical properties and their periodic variation. And the first physical property we are going to discuss, that is atomic size. Atomic size. Atomic size means distance of outermost electron from the center of the nucleus. The distance of outermost electron from the center of nucleus, that is known as atomic size. Now, question may be there, why the atomic size cannot be measured in isolated state? The reason is simple one, because the atom is too small to be measured. The atom is too small to be measured, hence the atomic size is never estimated in isolated state, it is measured in the bonded state. And in bonded state, the atomic size can be of three types. The atomic size can be of three types. The first one is van der Waals radius. Second one is covalent radius. And third one is metallic radius. The atomic size in bonded state can be of three types. The first one is van der Waals radius. Second one is covalent radius. Third one is metallic radius. First, van der Waals radius. Van der Waals radius means the average distance between two atoms of molecules bonded together by van der Waals forces. I am repeating, van der Waals radius means average distance between two atoms which are bonded together with help of van der Waals forces. So, formula may be half of distance between two atoms of molecule bonded by van der Waals forces. Bonded by van der Waals forces. Bonded by van der Waals forces is known as van der Waals radius. Next is covalent radius. Covalent radius means average distance between two atoms bonded by covalent bond. Average distance between two atoms bonded by covalent bond. Bonded by covalent bond, that is known as covalent radius. And the last one is metallic radius. It may be defined as average distance between two atoms bonded by metallic bond. Two atoms bonded by metallic bond. I am repeating, the atomic size can be of three types on basis of forces of attraction. First one is van der Waals radius. It may be half of distance between two atoms of molecule bonded together by van der Waals forces. Covalent radius. It is the half of distance between two atoms bonded together by covalent bond. And metallic radius. It is the half of distance between two atoms bonded together by metallic bond. And order of these three will be: covalent radius is smallest, then metallic radius, and the largest will be van der Waals radius, because it will depend on strength of the bond. Covalent bond is strongest, so covalent radius is least. More than that will be metallic radius, and largest will be the van der Waals radius. After this, now we have to discuss about the factors on which atomic size depend. Factors on which atomic size depend. Generally, there are two factors on which the atomic size will depend, and the first one is nuclear charge. First factor is nuclear charge. First factor is nuclear charge. As we know, nucleus has a positive charge while electron has a negative charge. Hence, more will be the nuclear charge, more will be the attraction, lesser will be the atomic size. I am repeating, higher will be the nuclear charge, more will be the attraction between electron and the nucleus, so smaller will be the atomic size. The second factor is shielding effect or screening effect, very important one. Shielding effect or screening effect. Shielding effect or screening effect. Very important topic. First of all, we have to understand what do we mean by screening effect or screening effect. As we know, according to Neil Bohr atomic model, the electrons revolve around the nucleus in definite circular path of energy, which are known as orbits. So, nucleus has a positive charge while the electron has a negative charge. There will be attraction between the nucleus and the electron, but the inner shell electrons will repel the incoming electron or outer shell electron, and that repulsion is known as shielding effect or screening effect. I am repeating, screening effect or shielding effect is defined as the repulsion of outer shell electron by the inner shell electron near the nucleus. That effect is known as shielding effect or screening effect. Hence, more will be the screening effect, more will be the atomic size. More will be the screening effect, larger will be the atomic size. And order of shielding effect will be S has strongest shielding power, then P, then D, then F subcell. The shielding power of different subcell will be S less than P, less than D, less than S is less than greater than P, P greater than D, greater than F. Order will be S, then P, then D, then F. F is the weakest shielding effect showing, whilst S is showing the strongest shielding effect. Now, see here, there are two factors. One is nuclear charge, due to which atomic size will decrease, and the second one is shielding effect, due to which the atomic size will increase. Hence, we have to find out the resultant value, and that resultant value is known as effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge. Now, numericals may be there on this topic, and effective nuclear charge can be found out by use of this formula, Z minus sigma. Effective nuclear charge will be equal to Z minus sigma, where Z is the atomic number of the element and sigma is the shielding constant. Z is the atomic number and sigma is the shielding constant. Now, we have to study a rule with help of which we can find out the shielding constant. We can find out the shielding constant, and that rule is known as Slater's rule. That rule is known as Slater's rule. And according to this rule, we have to arrange the electrons in the group I am showing. We have to arrange the electron in the group I am showing. The first group will be 1s. The second one will be 2s and 2p. Third one will be 3s, 3p. Then 3d. Then 4s, 4p. Then 4d. Then 4f. 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f, 6s, 6p, 6d, and then 7s, 7p. We have to write down the electron in group like this. Means according to cell we have to arrange. First cell, then second cell, third cell, fourth cell, fifth cell, sixth cell, and seventh cell. Now we have to find out the Selling constant. Selling constant for S and P electron. Selling constant for S and P electron. For S and P electron. Very important one. For it, we have to keep in mind the outer cell electron will not contribute to the Selling constant. First rule is outer cell electron will not contribute to Selling constant. Second rule is same group electrons contribute 0.35 except 1s. For 1s contribution is 0.30. Third rule, n minus 1 group electrons contribute 0.85. And fourth rule is n minus 2 group electrons or all inner electrons contribute 1. These are the rules to count Selling constant for S and P electron. For D and F electrons, same outer cell electron will not contribute to it. Same group contribute 0.35 and all inner electrons contribute 1. All inner electron contribute 1. Now I am taking few examples, or I am counting the Selling constant for first 20 elements. Selling constant, effective nuclear charge and their atomic number. First element is hydrogen, so it can be written like this: 1s1, atomic number is 1, Selling constant will be 0 as only one electron is there, so effective nuclear charge of hydrogen will be 1. Next one is helium. Electronic configuration will be 1s2, atomic number is 2, Selling is 0.30, so effective nuclear charge is 1.7. Next one is lithium. Electronic configuration 1s2, 2s1. According to group we have to arrange. Atomic number is 3. Selling constant, same group, no electron is there. inner electron are 2 into 0.85, and that comes out to be 1.7. So effective nuclear charge will be equal to 1.3. Next for beryllium, 1s2, 2s2, same group, 2 electron are there, 1 will contribute, 1 atomic number is 4, so it will be 1 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, and that comes out to be 2.05. So effective nuclear charge will be 1.95. For boron, we can write 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. Atomic number is 5. In same group, 3 electrons are there, 2 will contribute, 2 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, that comes out to be 2.4. So effective nuclear charge will be 2.6. Next one is carbon, 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Atomic number is 6. Same group, 3 electron, 3 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, that comes out to be 2.75, and that will be 3.25. Selling constant 2.75, effective nuclear charge 3.25. Next one is nitrogen, 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. Atomic number is 7. So same group, 4 will contribute, 4 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, that comes out to be 3.1, and effective nuclear charge 3.9. Next is oxygen, 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. Atomic number is 8. So 5 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, that comes out to be 3.45. So it comes out to be 4.55. Next is fluorine, 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. Atomic number is 9. So 6 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, that comes out to be 3.8. So effective nuclear charge will be 5.2. Next one is neon. So it will be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Atomic number is 10. 7 into 0.35 plus 2 into 0.85, that comes out to be 4.15. Effective nuclear charge 5.85. Now see here, when we are moving in the period, the Schilling constant increases by 0.35. Keep it in mind, when we move in period, the Schilling constant increases by 0.35, while the effective nuclear charge increases by 0.65. Keep it in mind. When we move in period, the Schilling constant increases by 0.35, the effective nuclear charge increases by 0.65. Now, I am taking other third period elements, and in third period element, the first element is sodium. Atomic number is 11. So it can be written like this: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Now third group will start 3s1. So atomic number is 11. Schilling constant, same group, only one electron is there. 8 into 0.85 plus 2 into 1, and that comes out to be 8.8, and effective nuclear charge comes out to be 2. Next one is magnesium, 12. It can be written like this: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Atomic number is 12, so it comes out to be 1 into 0.35 plus 8 into 0.85 plus 2 into 1, that comes out to be 9.15, and effective nuclear charge 2.85. Same way we can do for aluminium. It can be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p1. Atomic number is 13. So 2 same group electron, 2 into 0.35 plus 8 into 0.85 plus 2 into 1, that comes out to be 9.5. So effective nuclear charge comes out to be 3.5. Same way for silicon, we can add 0.35 here, 9.85 shielding constant. So effective nuclear charge will be 4.15. For phosphorus, it comes out to be 10.2. So effective nuclear charge comes out to be 4.8. For sulfur, that will be 10.55. That comes out to be 5.45. For chlorine, it will be 10.9, and effective nuclear charge comes out to be 6.1. For argon, that will be 11.25, that can be 6.75. For potassium, I am writing, it will be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, next group 3d0, 4s1. So atomic number is 19. Shielding constant will be same group, only one electron, so no repulsion. Inner 8 into 0.35 plus all inner 10 into 1, that comes out to be 16.8, and effective nuclear charge comes out to be 2.2. So as from this data we are also saying, as we move in the period, the effective nuclear charge increases by 0.65, while the shielding constant increases by 0.35. Now keep it in mind, the atomic size. Now the consequences of effective nuclear charge I am discussing, that is an important topic for your competitive exams particularly. The first one is variation of atomic size. Variation of atomic size. So keep it in mind, with increase of effective nuclear charge, the atomic size will decrease. With increase of effective nuclear charge, the atomic size will decrease. Hence, along the period, generally the atomic size will decrease. Second consequence is size of cation, anion, and neutral atom. Then order will be cation is least, then neutral atom, and anion has the largest size. Order will be cation smallest, then neutral atom, then anion. Because with increase of electron, the shielding constant will increase and effective nuclear charge will decrease. Next one is size of isoelectronic species. Size of isoelectronic species. Size of isoelectronic species decreases with increase of atomic number, or we can say that the effective nuclear charge. So question might be there, arrange K positive, Cl negative, argon, Ca2 positive in increasing order of atomic size. As all are isoelectronic, so smallest will be calcium, then potassium, then argon, and largest will be Cl negative. Next question might be there. Arrange N3 negative, Al3 positive, neon, Na positive, O2 negative, Mg2 positive, and F negative in increasing order of ionic size. As I have mentioned, all are isoelectronic. Now we have to see their atomic number. Larger atomic number, lesser atomic ionic size. So order will be, smallest will be Al3 positive, then Mg2 positive, then Na positive, then neon, then F negative, then O2 negative, and largest will be N3 negative. I hope you understand the topic of effective nuclear charge and its consequences. Now, we have to discuss variation of atomic size in period and group. As I have mentioned, along the period, the effective nuclear charge increases, and generally the atomic size will decrease along the period. Atomic size will decrease along the period, but exceptionally keep it in mind, noble gases have largest size because in them van der Waals radius is measured, but for other element we measure the covalent radius. I am repeating, along the period generally atomic size decreases due to increase of effective nuclear charge, but noble gases have largest size due to measurement of van der Waals radius. For other element we measure covalent radius. Now what about the group? And one exception is also there. That exception is out of nitrogen and oxygen, which is having largest size. Out of nitrogen and oxygen, which is having largest size. According to data I am giving, nitrogen should have largest size, but exceptionally size of oxygen is larger than nitrogen. Size of oxygen is larger than nitrogen due to stronger shielding effect in oxygen than nitrogen. Stronger shielding effect in oxygen than nitrogen. Now we have to discuss about the group. Generally, down the group, the atomic size will increase. Down the group, generally the atomic size will increase due to addition of a new cell. Due to addition of a new cell, but few exceptions are there which may be asked in your competitive exam. And first exception is, exceptionally size of gallium is smaller than aluminum. Exceptionally size of gallium is smaller than aluminum. Why? Then here reason is same, due to poor shielding power of D subcell than S subcell. Poor shielding power of D subcell than S subcell. Because in case of aluminum, the shielding orbital is S subcell, while for gallium, the shielding orbital is D subcell. So I have mentioned the shielding power decreases from S to F, hence the shielding power of D is lesser than S, so size of gallium is exceptionally smaller than aluminum. Next question may be there. We have discussed about the transition element series. There are 4 series, 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D series. So as from the data we are expecting, the size will generally increase down the group, but exceptionally the size of second and third transition element series is almost same. The size of second and third transition element series is almost same. Question may be asked in your exam, why? Size of second and third transition element series is almost same due to a special region, and that is known as lengthenoid contraction. That is known as lengthenoid contraction. It is a very important topic for board exams of 12th as well as your competitive exam also. What is lengthened contraction and what are its consequences? What is lengthened contraction and what are its consequences? So we have to discuss first what is lengthened contraction. I have mentioned the elements after lanthanum, they are known as lanthanoids, and these are 14 in number: cerium, prasat, neodymium, neodymium, permethium, samarium, europium, glodymium, terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, lutetium. These are the 14 elements. Hence, the size will decrease from cerium to lutetium. But actually, there is a steady decrease in the atomic size with increase of atomic number. There is a steady decrease in atomic size with increase of atomic number as we move through the lanthanoids, and that property is known as lanthanoid contraction. I am repeating, when we move through the lanthanoids, there is a steady decrease in atomic size from cerium to lanthanum to lutetium, I can say, and this steady decrease with atomic size with increase of atomic number, that is known as lengthened contraction. Now question may be there, why lengthened contraction is observed? Then it is observed due to poor shielding power of F subset. It is observed due to poor shielding power of F subset. Now its consequences. First consequence I have mentioned, the size of second and third transition element series is almost same. Size of second and third transition element series is almost same. Second consequence is that the physical and chemical properties of lanthanoids, are almost same, hence they are very hard to be separated. Physical and chemical properties of element are almost same, hence they are very hard to be separated. And last one is very important one, the basic strength of trihydroxide of lanthanoids. Basic strength of trihydroxide of lanthanoids decreases with increase of atomic number. Basic strength of trihydroxide of lanthanoid decreases with increase of atomic number. Now, I hope you understand today's topic. Tomorrow we will finish this chapter. Tomorrow we will finish with this chapter. So, please study this chapter very carefully. It is the basis of chemistry, I can say. Particularly effective nuclear charge, generally not discussed in the normal classes, but I have mentioned all the things about it. Now you have to do the numericals regarding this, and you have to do the questions and do the assignment. Till then, thank you. Stay connected.